Welcome back to the show. We've got Grace, Peter and Storm. We also have Yvette Fielding, host of Most Haunted.
Hello.
Good to see you. Hello. Author of a new book, which I've got right here, out today about the UK's version of the Salem witch trials. There it is, The Witches of Pendle. Great cover. It's the third book for basically young adults, and it's in the Ghost Hunter Chronicles, your series. Fiction. Was inspired by real events and one of the most terrifying ghostly experiences you've encountered. Now, I've got a bit of film of this.
Oh, gosh.
So, yes, I have.
Oh, no.
That's a shock in itself. Yeah. So let's play it and then you can tell me what's going on.
OK.
Stuart. His head.
Right, get rid of his cable.
Just someone medical, anything.
Yeah, don't worry. Chill.
Right, tell him Steve he's trying to take that off.
Hang on. Right, someone support around the back.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Oh, Stuart.
He's okay. He's going to be okay.
Stuart, he's going to be all right. He's
going to be all right, yeah.
John felt a tightening round his throat, and then the next thing that Stuart is retching like, and then he just went over.
So, that happened while you were filming?
Yeah, it was a live show, and we went to a little farmhouse in Pendle, in Lancashire, and live on air, and as you know, you've got all the trucks outside, the live trucks, and we had the camera crew inside this little cottage, and all sorts of strange things were happening. And then one by one, you just saw one person there. They all complained of the same things, where it was a tightening and constriction around the neck, and as if something was pushing in on their Adam's apple. But the cameramen went down, the sound crew went down, the riggers went down, the paramedics had to be called, and some of them went unconscious. It was the most incredible and frightening one-off.
It does look scary.
Yeah.
The theory is that would be to do with people who were hanged back in the day, was it?
Yes. Apparently, we did a Ouija board, and the ghost of Elizabeth Demdike came through, who was one of the accused Pendle witches. She was the matriarch of one of the families, and she wasn't hanged, but she actually died at Lancaster Castle in the dungeons. But she came through on a Ouija board and said that she wanted her revenge, and she was going to show us what it felt like to be hanged. And so I thought, right, I'm going to have to use some of my experiences here for my books, which I have done in all 3 books, and particularly this one.
Yeah. So she essentially is wanting to prove she's not a witch by strangling the cameraman. I mean, that's the one flaw here.
It's very strange. So, yes, I decided to use her character because she was the only one from the Pendle witches that were accused that actually admitted to being a witch. All the others were innocent. And in the day, back in 1612, when the Pendle witch trials began, all these people, they were just, poor families that were trying to make ends meet by sort of selling lotions and potions.
This witch trial thing, I mean, I'm glad you've written about it, because Storm, this idea that if you don't like somebody, you throw them in a river. That's essentially...
particularly a woman,
yeah,
right?
particularly
yes,
a woman.
I know.
It's weird how things like that still sort of happen, just maybe not to those kinds of extremes, but you still get people, if they don't like someone, picking on them.
Look at GB News.
Well, this is what I was trying to refer to. So they happen, but in a much more sort of societally acceptable manner. I mean, I find it fascinating. The Salem witch trials was something I studied at school, and I've always been really interested in it.
I saw The Crucible recently, which is about...
Was it good?
It's amazing. So this is essentially our British version, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a horrific time. James I was absolutely paranoid about witchcraft, wrote a book about it. But as I was saying, it's these poor innocent people. I mean, one of them, Alice Nutter, she just happened to be quite a wealthy landowner. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time with all these other people. And Noel, who's the magistrate, wanted to prove something to James I. It was his first job. And so he went, you're in the room with them, so therefore you're a witch. And this poor woman was hanged. So I want to ask you, being a politician, why can we not pardon the Pendle witches? Why? All these innocent women, 2 men, they were hanged and they were innocent. And yet so many people have put a petition together to get these witches pardoned, and yet it's no.
And it
I
would
just
be
wonder
easier
why.
than building HS2.
It would be. I just wondered why. I just wondered what your thought process would be.
You divided me on HS2, but no, I'm going to stick to the question. What I would do on that, so every member of Parliament has a right to bring forward a private member's bill to change the law. This would be an ideal one. If there could be enough people persuaded to support a petition, then we could get a debate in the House of Commons and the law could be changed. I guess there isn't... Look, I know so little about this, and I'm really interested to read the book now. But it's exactly what we should be doing in Parliament. If there's a groundswell of support to say that this was wrong and they should be pardoned, we should do it. But we should do it sensibly. We should look at the evidence, decide whether that's the case. But I absolutely...
Would you,
exactly
out of interest, Peter, because this could be your thing, right? The Witches of Pendle. And honestly, the headlines would be brilliant for you. But is it difficult? It's not your constituency, Pendle.
That wouldn't. That
doesn't matter.
That's slightly different. If you've got a complaint as an individual, it's your MP that has to deal with it. But the rest, I mean, this is about the king, and it's about what was happening, and I'm thinking, gosh, that happened only like about 140 years before my house was built. No wonder I've got things going on in my house.
There we are. So look, the new book is The Witches of Pendle, out today. I think I'm going to pass this copy to Peter in the hope you will read it and then do the motion.
Well, first of all, Helen will read it because she said when you were coming, she said, I don't believe in ghosts. I said, right, she's going to get this. And then we'll take it up.
I hope she enjoys it.
We have a ghost story in the papers that we've selected here, Yvette, because in The Sun, they're saying Strictly Stars demand producers call in a Ghostbuster. They're convinced the studio's haunted. They then show this picture, and I've spent ages looking at this picture, and I assumed it was the shaft of light on Craig Revel. Apparently it's just a random picture of the studio. So I don't know what they're complaining about. What do you think?
Well, I've investigated Elstree Studios. It's definitely haunted. There's definitely something going on there. And people that have been at Elstree Studios, they've had things missing from their dressing rooms, things thrown at them, poltergeist activity, camera equipment fluctuates and malfunctions. There's the whispering of children, and it's a very creepy place. Particularly on your own, and you think anywhere that's had a lot of energy, lots of people coming through, and also what happened on the land before Elstree Studios was built as well.
Grace is let's just tell you here, Grace is an economist. So unless she can count it, it doesn't exist.
No, that's not true.
No, you've got that expression.
That's not true at all.
I can see it.
It's not true at all. I would say I'm agnostic. And I can tell the reason, if you'd asked me kind of in general, I would probably be like, oh, I don't really know. It's not something that I would, have an opinion about. But I would never mess around with a Ouija board. I would never mess around with any of it. So that's kind of, I feel like, how I know that there's probably something in me that's a bit more like, maybe there's something there.
I've done thousands and I'm fine.
Yeah, well, also...
as far as we know.
Elstree was used to film The Shining.
Yes.
Oh,
Why was The Shining a very unusual horror film? Anyone? No use of darkness till the very last scene. Always all brightly lit.
Oh,
fantastic. I investigated the Stanley Hotel in Colorado where he actually got the idea from. And Jim Carrey had stayed in the bedroom that I'd stayed in, the most haunted room. And apparently he came down early hours of the morning with his coat on and everything, saying, I need a taxi, get me out of here now. And something awful happened to me in that room as well. It was really frightening.
Really?
Very frightening room. Very frightening.
I'd say very, very clear of all of it, to be honest.
I just feel like ghosts get a bad rap because why are they always evil and bad and doing that?
Oh, they're not.
Like, surely if they're just us, just passed on,
they're lovely.
there's good and bad.
Yes, exactly. Some of them are memories. So somebody in 50 years' time could walk, but this could be a completely different building or a street.
Through.
And you walk through.
You'd be strutting, dancing.
How do you know that's not right? What's happening right now?
There's not some implication that if they're still around, they're hanging around, they've got some unfinished business.
Not necessarily so.
Oh, really?
No, not necessarily. And a lot of our loved ones. Definitely, sometimes they'll go, I could smell my grandmother's perfume or I could smell my granddad's pipe. They've just come to say hello, that's all.
I think it's because in Scooby-Doo, they always go, woo! that's unfair on ghosts.
But in Scooby-Doo, it is normally the janitor as well.
Yeah.
It is the janitor.
Would have got away with it.
All right,
if it wasn't
we have to get on with our stories here.